decided early in life that she would not allow grief to set the tone for her future. Now she is leading ministries and sharing her testimony to many.
I'm Lisa Santagate, and I'm just going to share with you today some important things that I've learned in this journey of faith. And probably the most important thing is just that God is with us in every moment. And even though in our lives sometimes we feel like He's hidden, He is actually at work. And every moment then brings us into a purpose that He has for us. So it's just exciting to see what He's doing and how He's working in other people's lives. So my husband and I are co-directors here at Dream City Church of Marriage and Family Ministries. And we just see Him just bringing couples and individuals into wholeness. And that's really the plan that He has for each one of us. But we need to make the decision to turn to Him when times get tough, because that's a choice that we all have to make. And we'll find that when we turn to Him, He will lead us and guide us. And that's why Psalm 23 is really my favorite psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, and He will lead us through every valley, and He's also with us in every victory.
Well, today I have the honor of interviewing actually my mentor, Lisa Santagate, the Director of Marriage and Family at Dream City Church. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Aubrey.
Now, Lisa, I know you. I love the fruit of your life. That's why I asked you to be my mentor. But I don't know your testimony and how you came to know the Lord.
Okay.
But first off, let me ask you, what is hope? Because our show is about hope heroes.
Right. Hope for the Christian is a little different than hope for the world. So if you're out in the world, it's kind of like wishful thinking. Hope is, well, I hope something will happen tomorrow, or I hope this gets better. But for us, it is the promise of a better tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that.
So Lisa, how did you come to know the Lord?
Well, I was raised in rural Ohio. And
I was born in Ohio.
Were you really?
Dayton, Ohio.
Oh my gosh, I was only like 60 miles north of Dayton,
my goodness.
Ohio. Yeah.
Anyways, sorry.
Okay. And so in our community, it was a small rural community, in our community, the Christian faith was just a part of the fabric of our lives. And so when I was younger, I would attend church occasionally. Sometimes I sang in the choir. It was just a part of who I was. But when I was 12 years old, we had a school assembly, and school clubs would invite someone. And they had Nicky Cruz come, and he is actually the subject of a book and a movie called The Cross and the Switchblade.
Okay.
And he was one of the most notorious gang lords in New York City.
Wow.
And so he actually got saved, gave his life to the Lord, complete transformation, and he started to go around to different schools and share his story. That's why the personal story is so important. When he got to the end of that, I thought, I don't have that relationship. And it made me realize my earlier days, it was ritual. It was just part of our tradition. It wasn't really relationship. And so I stood to my feet, 12 years old, right there in the school auditorium, and gave my life to the Lord.
Wow, I never knew that.
Yeah.
So what were the most difficult challenges that you faced in your faith journey?
Right, so the journey for all of us is, of course, it's unique. And for me, I had two major events in my life. The first one was after I had my third child, I ended up having to have a surgery, and unfortunately I contracted a hospital infection.
No.
And so in that time, those months, I went down to 74 pounds. I was told that I was going to experience organ failure and that I might have 6 weeks to live. And I have 3 little ones.
Oh, my word.
And so it was just a very difficult time.
Yeah.
So God brought me through that. He has the final word on things like that. But it was, I say, I walked out a miracle for 24 months.
Yeah.
Because coming back from something like that took a lot of time. So that was the first real challenge that I had, was understanding my faith when I'm really, really ill, and just kind of parsing that out and staying focused on the Lord. Isaiah 26:3 says, He will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you.
Right.
And so that's what I had to do in that season. So shortly after recovery, my husband and I decided we would sell our home and relocate. And so that was an exciting time. You know, sometimes you just need a new beginning.
Yes.
I'd been through a difficult season. The whole family had been. It was just time for us to kind of uproot and go someplace else.
Yes.
And so, as happens when you're moving, you know, things are just really busy. We were moving furniture around and all this was going on. And he started to have some arm pain, which we just assumed was his
lifting
and all that. And so on a Sunday morning, I'll never forget this. I woke up really early in the morning and the Lord just impressed on my heart Psalm 23. And it starts, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You know, he makes me to lie down in green pastures and he leads me beside still waters." And it was just this beautiful psalm. It's been my psalm ever since. And it just kind of stayed in my heart all day long. Well, that next day we were just one day away from our move, and this is a big house to move. I got up that morning and the house was just really, really quiet, and I thought that was odd. So as I went through the house, I found him, and he was just ashen. He was in pain. He couldn't move. I finally convinced him, "We've got to get you to the hospital." We did that, and about 36 hours later, he passed away.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, so that challenge in that season of first illness and then that level of loss was just indescribable. And probably for me, and that's why Single Moms is so much on my heart as part of the family ministries, because all of a sudden I was a widow with 3 children.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what we would do because we were moving from one house. So that house closed escrow to another house, which didn't close escrow because the income had gone away.
Yes.
And then also that same day, discovering that he had allowed his life insurance to lapse.
Oh,
so
my
I was
goodness.
just those, and the way I describe it to people is like loss upon loss upon loss in one day. You know, and just being able to have the Lord kind of walk you through those shadows, like in Psalm 23. You know, you walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we shall fear no evil. And just staying in that place of making the choice to continue to trust him.
Yeah.
Regardless of your circumstances. So those were my 2 greatest challenges.
Yeah. And so, Lisa, how did you take your story then and become a writer and write women's curriculum, and you're using it in the church today?
Right.
Before we wrap up, tell us about that.
Okay, so early on, before I went to college, I actually went for science and got into the tech industry. I really wanted to be a writer. And my parents wisely said that probably would not pay your bills. And so what I did later, as God began to restore me and heal me and bring our family through that, he also introduced me to Franklin, and who is now my husband.
Yeah.
And once we got married, there was just a call upon us as a couple, and differently, but definitely something that we would also combine and do together. So I began with the women's ministry writing. I just wrote curriculum for other churches to use, and I teach it at our church. And then as we began, and he was in men's ministry, so we had women and men. And now, you know, God has just brought us together then to do the marriage and family ministries at Dream City Church. It's just such a blessing and an honor and a privilege.
Well, your impact together is just massive. The stuff
Thank
that
you.
you've done for Dream City Church has taken us so many levels. The people that you have mentored and grown, I mean, it's so evident that the fruit of your life is in their life. So I'm honored to be mentored by you as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, Franklin and Lisa Santagate have so many amazing ministries within our marriage and family ministry. If you are a single mom, if you are in a marriage, maybe you're looking at getting married soon, make sure you get involved within this amazing ministry. There is a place for everybody. So go to dreamcitychurch.us and click the Marriage and Family tab.